So Natlan's almost here, and I think it's about time for me to make a Genshin Impact guide video for beginners starting in 2024. In this video, I will talk about the things you need to know in Genshin Impact in the most understandable way, and some tips and tricks to get started. This also includes some of the new QOL updates that's going to be added in the upcoming Genshin patch, so watch till the end if you don't want to miss that, and let's get started. Adventure rank or AR is your level, with 60 being the highest, and world level is your rank, with 8 as of this recording. The next patch, it will be increased to 9. You don't really have to pay attention to your adventure rank, just level up as you would by doing quests, commissions, domains, etc. Play the game. When you reach certain adventure ranks, you're going to have Ascension Quest, and by completing it, your world level will rank up, therefore having stronger enemies, greater rewards. You get the idea. If you don't do it, then you're just going to accumulate AR XP until you decide to do it, but I don't advise this if you want better rewards. Not to worry, you can always downgrade your world level by 1 if you find it too hard. You may have some trinkets in your inventory. These are called artifacts. You can find it in your character menu as well. Artifacts basically make your character stronger, but for new players, it doesn't really matter what you do with them early on, as you will eventually learn about it, so just use the fast equip function. You can get artifacts by mainly farming domains, killing enemies, and sometimes exploration. Starting from the new version, players will finally be able to salvage artifacts into XP balls, which is a huge lifesaver for me. In addition to that, upon completing the Adventure Handbook quest, the new gadget Artifact Transmuter will allow players to customize the main stat of an artifact and 2 of its substats using Sanctifying Elixir, which is obtained by extracting a certain number of upgraded artifacts and from the Battle Pass. Honestly, this is like one of the best updates they've done on artifacts, so I'm all in for it. We have 5 types of weapons in Genshin, as you can see here. 5-star weapons are only exclusive in Gacha, so you have to pull for them, and for 4 stars you usually get them the same way or by crafting. In order to craft, you're going to need a weapon billet, and you can get this by defeating weekly bosses as a random reward, souvenir shops, and offerings. You can also get 4 stars from events, fishing, and quests. Both artifacts and weapons have different stats and attributes, so equipping them varies on the character. There are a lot of guide makers in YouTube who makes guides regarding this, so feel free to check their content out as well. But personally, I recommend channels like Zyox for character building. There has been some changes in the gacha system in the new upcoming 5.0 update, but before that, let me explain how the gacha works. The currency used to pull for banners is called Primo Gem. In the gacha system, we have 3 types of banners: the standard banner, the weapon banner, and the character event banner, also known as the featured character banner. The standard banner is permanent, which means you can pull for this anytime you want. It never disappears. The wishing item here is called Acquaint Fate, and you can get them by exchanging primos or from certain rewards. The weapon banner and the character event banner, however, has a time limit, which means you have a limited amount of time before these banners disappear. Don't worry, as they typically come back in the future. To pull these banners, you use Intertwined Fates, which you can also get by exchanging primos. This is where I only recommend using Primo Gems for, because they are valuable. In Genshin, there's this system called the pity system, where for every 90 pulls or below, you're guaranteed to get a 5-star, and for every 10 pulls, you're guaranteed a 4-star. So if you still haven't gotten a 5-star after 89 pulls, your 90th pull is going to be a 5-star. But hitting 90 pity rarely happens unless you're really unlucky. There's also this thing called hard pity and soft pity. Hard pity is the term for getting a 5-star at exactly 90 pulls, and soft pity is the term for getting a 5-star in around 74 to 80 pulls, because your chances of getting a 5-star in this range slowly increases. In simple words, hard pity, very unlucky; soft pity, kinda lucky; under soft pity, you lucky son of a. In the standard banner, pulling is pretty straightforward. For every 10 pulls, you get a guaranteed 4-star or above, and the pity count is the same. In the 5.0 livestream, they announced that every year during Genshin's anniversary event, everyone will be able to choose any of the 5-star characters from the standard banner for free. Characters that will be added in the standard banner in the future will be free as well, again, only during Genshin's anniversary. In the character event banner, it's the same. Every 10 pulls is a guaranteed 4-star or above. This is where the 50-50 system comes in. You have a 50% chance of getting the promotional character and the 50% chance of getting a standard banner character, hence 50-50. Now what does this mean? By pulling a 5-star for the very first time in this banner, you enter 50-50. You either win it, thus getting the promotional character, or you lose it, thus getting any of the characters from the standard banner. If you win the 50-50 and get a promotional character, you will still be on 50-50 the next time you pull a 5-star in this banner. If you lose the 50-50 and get a standard banner character, the next 5-star that you will pull in this banner is guaranteed to be the promotional character. But what if you get 2 5-star characters or more? Then it depends on the order of the characters. If the last 5-star character you pulled is the promotional character, then you're at 50-50, and vice versa. By the way, the pity count affects character event banner too. For example, if you build pity for this one, that pity will also affect the other. It also carries over the next banners, so if you pulled 50 times in a featured character banner but didn't get a 5-star because it ended, you will only need 40 pulls or below to get a 5-star in the next one. Another thing to mention is that it does not carry across banners, and it resets once you get a 5-star. In the new 5.0 update, players will have a higher chance getting the promotional character thanks to the new Capturing Radiance event. This brand new mechanic only applies in the character event banners and has a chance to occur when you're on 50-50. When Capturing Radiance happens, the 5-star that you're pulling has a higher chance being the promotional character. There are yet details to be released about Capturing Radiance, but one thing's for sure is that you have a more probable chance of winning the promotional character, which is a pretty good deal if you ask me. As for the weapon banner, it's a little different. Before pulling in this banner, you're asked to set a path for the weapon. This is a mechanic called Epitomized Path. Go set a path for the weapon you want. What this does, if you don't get your desired 5-star weapon, you will obtain a fate point, and once that you've obtained enough fate points, the next 5-star weapon that you will get is the one you set a path for, and your fate point resets. It also resets whenever you change or cancel the path and doesn't carry in the next banner, so take note of that. If you don't set a path for a weapon, then you won't accumulate fate points. Hard pity on the weapon is 80 and soft pity starts at 65. With the new changes in the next version, the amount of fate points required to get the desired weapon has been reduced from 2 to 1, so less spending for the weapon banner is an absolute W. Moving on to characters. This all lies to one's preference whether you play for the meta or for the waifus. But for the sake of this guide, I'll tell you who you need to build. I recommend that you build any of the following characters as they significantly help you later in the game and are very versatile, such as Xiangling, Jingqiu, Bennett, Fischl, Sucrose, and Kukishinobu. If you don't have some of the characters mentioned, do not worry as you will get them eventually. For starters, it is recommended to focus on leveling up one character, preferably a DPS, so you can carry and just gradually level up the others. We have 7 elements in Genshin. These different types of elements synergize with each other to create elemental reactions and powerful attacks. For example, when Pyro comes in contact with Hydro, it triggers a Vaporize reaction, therefore dealing extra damage. You can try and experiment with what works as there are teams that also specialize in reactions, and for Elemental Resonance, you can find this on the top right corner of the party setup. These are benefits that you will get if you have the same elemental type characters in a team. In other words, these are buffs. Team compositions are very important in Genshin Impact. Being able to utilize who works with who will definitely step up your game. Then again, in the early game, you don't have to worry about it that much, so just put who you like. But if you want to clear content as fast as possible while min-maxing your characters, I would recommend using any of these starter teams. Just a disclaimer, some of the characters here mentioned might not bring you the best viable options later in the game, so upgrade them to a limit until you have better units. Let's move on to the tips and tricks. Always do your commissions. I know at some point it feels like a chore logging in the game just to do commissions, but if you're free to play, those primos are worth the hard work. Thankfully, starting at AR24, you unlock this feature called Adventure Encounters, where you receive commission rewards by doing quests, events, and exploration. This also includes long-term encounter points. If you already claimed the commission rewards, the excess encounter points will be converted into long-term encounter points, and you can use these points to claim commission rewards by expending 30 resin. You can find more about this in the Adventure Handbook. It saves the trouble from doing commissions. Never use your fragile resin until AR45. I already know you probably know this, but I'll mention it anyways for those who don't. Resin is used to claim rewards in lead lines, domains, and bosses. They essentially help you to get materials and artifacts needed to upgrade characters and weapons. So consuming this early in the game is a very bad move since the rewards given are low. Instead, use your original resin to claim lead line rewards or character ascension materials and save up your fragile resin. When you're roaming around and see a chest or anything interactable, get them. Except for this. It's a trap. You will definitely need them for later. Kill some pigeons on the way too. If you come across an oculi, mark the spot where you found them on the map. By doing this, you can check if you've already collected them from that spot if you're planning to collect them all later. Trust me, when I started collecting all of them, it took me days since the process was so tedious. So doing this may save you some time. Don't build pity if you're on 50-50, especially if you're broke. A lot of players fall into this trap all the time, and I admit I did as well. It's not just worth trying to build pity to prepare for the next pattern or get a 4-star you want, and actually end up winning the 50-50 for a character you don't even want or need. If you didn't want to lose, then congrats. To gamblers, whenever you have the urge to pull, just use a wishing simulator. It's fun.